All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Micah Heimer. I'm the Implementation Manager here at Xpressdocs, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Greenridge Realty print-on-demand marketing platform powered by Xpressdocs. I've been working really closely with the Greenridge marketing team over the last few weeks on this site build, so we're really excited to be demoing this for everybody today. Just a little bit of housekeeping up front. We're going to be covering a lot of topics today. We're going to be taking a look at the platform. We're going to take a look at how you can access the site, show you a little bit about how to get around the site. We'll take a look at the automated marketing program, show you how you can import listings directly into your templates. We'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming programs that are coming down the line for you guys. And then at the end of the call, we'll have a Q&A session. Now, the way this webinar has been set up is if you're talking right now, unfortunately, I can't hear you. However, through the GoToWebinar tool, there is a section where you can submit in any questions that you have. Now, I won't be reviewing those during the call, but at the end of the call, we'll take a little bit of time to go ahead and walk through any questions that you guys have submitted. So definitely don't hesitate to participate as we're walking through and taking a look at all this. And again, like I said, we'll be covering quite a bit of ground, but the good news is we will also be recording this webinar and we'll make the video available to you after the call. So if you have any other questions or you need to rewatch any specific portions, you'll have that ability to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. So taking a look at the platform right now, this is the main landing page that you'll arrive on when you pass through the single sign-on. Now we have integrated a single sign-on and a listing feed with Property Base that will automatically pass you straight into your Greenridge Realty print platform. You're not going to need to log into anything. You'll just need to click that Xpressdocs link and it'll pass you straight in, and this is where you're going to land. Now, up at the top of my screen, you're going to notice there's a section that'll say your name and the office that you are affiliated with. If you're, for some reason, seeing a name appear that is different than your name or your office, then it means that there was a small hiccup with the single sign-on, and you'll be able to work with your corporate team to be able to get that corrected on the property-based side. But that more than likely will be a non-issue. You can see here at the top, I'm currently in this Jane Agent Demo Office account. If I need to update anything to do with my account information, I can just select that, and that will open up my account information. At any point in time, you'll notice there's a few different tabs here. I can click this Home tab to take me back to the beginning. Now you can see there's quite a few links and buttons on this page, so before we dive in on taking a look at some of the products, let's do a quick high-level tour to show you guys how to get around the site. So starting at the top of my page, you can see next to my account information, I can also log directly out of my account, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the Tier 1 Xpressdocs customer support contact information all appear at the top. Now, through your relationship with Xpressdocs, Greenridge Realty will get access to our Tier 1 customer service. And what that means for you guys is that if you have any questions as you're going together and putting together your first order, or you're logging into this site, or maybe you need help finding something that you've submitted in the past, well, you can reach out directly to Xpressdocs and we'll be here to help you out to either train you on how to use this site or help answer any questions that you may have. There's a variety of ways that you can reach out to contact us. You can send us an email to info@xpressdocs.com. But this bar that you can see at the top of my screen is visible from wherever you're at in the site. And there's a few more fast options that will be available to you. There's a live chat button here at the top that you can select. This will connect you straight into our customer service team and you can chat with them directly. Or if you prefer to talk to someone, there's also a toll-free line that you can call at 866-977-3627. Now, the hours of the customer service team are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So pretty much normal business hours across most of the United States. Now, you can access the portal and place any marketing collateral jobs that you have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you do need to contact the customer service team, they will have those hours of operation. Now, over on the left-hand side, you can also see there's a few quick links and informational tools down here. Most of these are going to be things like where you can learn more about some of the delivery options or list building tools that are available to you. The two quick links that I want to point out that will be handy for you guys are going to be your pending orders and your order history. Now, your pending orders is where you can go to reference any job that you have started that you haven't submitted for Xpressdocs. for printing. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're putting together a business card order, and you've put together the order, but you've saved it, and you're going to go ahead and submit it later on. Well, if I open up my pending orders, I can see all the jobs that I've started right here, and I can just click the Place Edit button to the left of the order name to open up that job and pick back up where I left off. So if you're trying to find a job that you think you've submitted and you can find it here in your pending orders, what that more than likely means is you have that job saved, but it hasn't been submitted for printing yet. Once I submit a job for printing, let's say I go ahead and open up my business cards and finish that job, what will happen is once I submit the job to Xpressdocs, it'll move it from my pending orders, and it will add the job into my order history. So your order history is where you can go if you need to find any job that you have submitted for printing. So I can see in my order here, I have my most recent job saved here at the top, and I can find all of my order details on this job. I can see what template I picked, where it was shipped. I can see any transactional details. I can even download a PDF proof or check the FedEx shipping status just by clicking this truck icon as well, so I can see exactly where it's at in the production process. If I need to duplicate this job, so let's say I need to order more business cards, I can just click this shopping cart button here, and that will duplicate my job into a reorder. So there's a lot of great tools that you can find under your order history. So if you need to find any job that you've submitted in the past, just click that order history tab, and it'll automatically sort your most recent jobs to the top. If you have quite a few jobs, there's also some search functionality that you can use to find your jobs more quickly. Now, most of the products that you're going to find on the homepage are going to be property marketing postcards, flyers, and brochures. So you can see here it's broken down by categories, and you can see within these categories there's quite a few subcategories. So for example, under business cards, if I open up that section, I'm going to have a few different options. Now the designs are going to look the same, but I'm going to have options to do rounded corner business cards, standard, which is going to have just the standard sharp edges, and then Trilux, which is a triple thick version of the business card. If I go into the postcard section here, I can find there's a variety of postcard sizes. So I can see there's large, small, extra large, mega, and fold-over postcards. And if I click the View All buttons below one of these categories, I can then see other template options and layouts available within that subcategory. Once you open up one of the template categories, you can also quickly jump over to other categories on your left-hand side over here. So I can jump into small postcards, large postcards, or jump over into a whole nother category. Now, if I open up any product categories that are over here, what I'll find is that my jobs will need me to import my own information into them. So if I open up a brochure, I'm going to need to load in my photos and type in any relevant text that I have for that particular property. Now, through Property Base, we also have a listing feed setup, which allows you to import your listings straight into your order. To do that, there's a Search Listings feature here at the top of my screen, and I can search for my listings in a variety of different ways. I can search by an MLS number or listing ID, by the street address, city, or zip code, and I can search directly for those listings right here. If you have quite a few listings, I can also just click View All My Listings to see all the listings that I have in my account. Now, if this is your first time opening this up, it's going to give you this tooltip here, which is going to explain to you in just a couple quick steps how you can import a listing straight into any of your templates. Now, you can see in this demo account, I have quite a few listings in here, but most of these are just test listings. Importing a listing into a job is very quick and easy to do. Under the appropriate listing, there's a Select Marketing button here on the right-hand side, and I can choose to send out direct mail, which is going to be postcards or mailable templates, or I can create marketing materials, which would be non-mailable templates like a flyer or a brochure. So let's say that I want to put together a direct mail piece for this listing here. I can click Send Direct Mail. It will then show me relevant mailable templates. So let's say I can select large postcards. I can pick a template that I'd like to use. So I'll go ahead and select this 4-photo template here. Now, on postcards, I also have the option of picking back sets. You can see here there's a small carousel, and I can choose from various back set options. and pick the one that I'd like to use. I can also get all of my pricing details right here. So I can see what my price is going to be with standard mail included. I can also reference pricing for first-class mail, or if I'm just going to have the pieces printed and shipped out directly. The prices with postage include that postage type, and it'll also give you some estimated delivery ranges. You'll also be able to notice how you'll get price breaks as you hit certain quantity thresholds. We'll automatically pass through that print savings so you can see exactly what your costs are going to be, including not only print, but postage and mailing out your piece. If I need to move back, I can just use the back button here to change to a different template, or if I'm ready to move forward, I can just use the next button to move forward with this template. Now what the system is going to do is it'll automatically name my job for me whatever that property address is, but I can still customize this order name with whatever I need this to be. It's also going to auto-populate in as much of my contact information as it has into these fields here. So you can see here it's filled out all of my information for me, but these are still customizable fields. So if I need to change something in here, I can do that. If my title, for example, is incorrect, I can update it, and if I check this Save as Default, it'll update my information going forward, so I don't have to change that again. Your return address is going to automatically populate your office return address. It is still adjustable if you need to make a change to it and you need the return cards to go somewhere else, but it's going to default to your office address. And you can see here, since I'm in a demo office, it's populating to my office information here. If you have a headshot already saved in your account, it'll automatically pick your headshots for you. And you can have multiple headshots saved in your account. If I click Choose Another Image, I'll be able to see any other headshots that I have saved in my account. And I can pick whichever one I'd like. Once you've added a headshot into your account, it will be saved on file going forward. So I only need to add in that headshot one time. I can manually add in a headshot just by clicking the Upload Headshot button and then just browsing for wherever I have that headshot saved on file. Now, property photos, it's going to automatically pass through the property photos straight from the MLS feed. And now you can see on the template that I've selected here, there are 4 photos. There's one large photo on the left-hand side and then 3 smaller photos. It'll automatically link photo 1, 2, 3, and 4 based on the first 4 photos in my listing. But I can click Choose Another Image if I'd like to choose from other photos that have passed through in the listing feed. I also have the ability, you'll notice on each photo, where I can do some basic photo editing to it. I can crop the photo, rotate it, download it directly to my computer if I need to manipulate it more manually. You'll also notice it will flag the images that come through in the feed with a quality. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but depending on the listing and the MLS, sometimes the photos that come through from a listing feed will not be the highest resolution. They do sometimes lower these as they're coming through, so it's something to be aware of. Just because the photo is tagged as a medium or a low quality, that does not necessarily mean that the photo will print poorly. But it is a warning for you to make sure that when you're looking at the proof, to make sure that the picture does not look pixelated or grainy. Now, one thing that's important to note too is if I'm using a lower quality photo, or maybe I've uploaded in a photo and the system is telling me that that photo may be low resolution, it's important to think about the template you've selected as well. If I use a low-res photo on a large 11 by 17 print piece, then there's a good chance that that's probably going to print poorly. But if I'm using lower quality photos for these small photos 2, 3, and 4 here, because of how small those photos will print, more than likely a low-res photo is actually going to print fine. But it's important for you to make sure you look at the proof, which we'll view here in just a moment, just to make sure that everything looks correct. You'll also notice all of my content information, my comments, those have imported straight from the MLS, the headlines, my address, the pricing details. It's automatically filled out all of this information for me, but it's still customizable content. So if something is incorrect, maybe I want to make some changes to some of the verbiage that was used on the MLS, I can go ahead and modify anything I need to. But by using the listing feed, I was able to basically have the whole template put together for me without needing to do anything. So if all of my information looks good from the MLS and I'm ready to move forward, I can just jump straight to the bottom and have the system generate a print and production proof for me. Now, this is a very important step in the process. And this is what I was alluding to before, especially if you get a tag on some of your photos that some of them may be low res. How the image looks in your proof is exactly how Xpressdocs is going to print your piece. So if I'm looking at a proof and I decide that, maybe that photo looks a little pixelated and grainy, or maybe I'm not happy with the way it's cropping that image down, how it will look in my proof here is exactly how we're going to print it. Now, a little bit of background information about Xpressdocs is we do print and ship your orders very, very quickly. Any order that you submit by 4 o'clock Central Standard Time is going to print and ship out that same day. If it's a mail job, it will print and pre-sort that same day and then mail out the following business day. So what I mean by that is if I'm ordering this large postcard here and I put together my proof and I like everything and I move forward and mail this order out, when I submit that job, because it's before 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, we're going to print and pre-sort this job today, and it's going to begin the mailing process tomorrow. So it's getting out the door and to the market very, very quickly, which is great for you guys. But it is important, though, for you to go ahead and make sure that you are carefully reviewing this before you submit it. If you put together a postcard, you submit the order today, and then in a couple hours, you call into Xpressdocs to say, hey, I found an error on that piece and I need to change it, more than likely that job has already printed and it's probably already in the queue for the pre-sort, and they're not going to be able to make any changes for you. So it's a great feature that we're going to be able to get your print stuff to market quickly, but it's very important for you guys. This is an important step in the process. Make sure you carefully look at both the front and the back of whatever the product is that you're working on. There's also, you'll notice on the left-hand side, a View PDF button. I definitely recommend clicking this because this will open up a new window for me, and it will give me a higher resolution PDF that I can zoom in on. This can also be handy to save this PDF, and I can send it to someone if I need someone to look at my proof before I submit it. But again, really what you're just doing is just double checking, make sure everything is spelled correctly, make sure everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and look at the front too, because I did see that it had flagged some of those photos as lower resolution. So this is a good example where I can zoom in on this and get a much better look at this piece. And actually when I look at these photos, even though they're low res, because of the smaller size of the photos, they actually look good. But if I was looking at these photos and they were coming across a little bit blurry or pixelated or grainy, and I approved this proof, that's exactly how we're going to print those. So just be aware. Now, if everything looks good, I just need to check the terms and acknowledgments. And if I'm using low-res photos, there'll be a special acknowledgement in there. And I have to check these boxes before I can move forward. So if you notice that you can't click the continue button, it's because you haven't checked off the terms and acknowledgement. Again, just acknowledging that you did review your proof before you moved forward with your job. Now, once you move forward, you can choose to either have your order shipped out directly or mailed out. Now, if I'm shipping a job, Xpressdocs automatically pays for all ground shipping in the site for your print-on-demand products, which means you never have to pay for FedEx ground shipping, which is a great feature. And if I'm just shipping out a job, what that means is I just need to pick where do I need to have it shipped and what service level would I like to ship it at. And then I can go straight to the checkout and finish that job. For purposes of the demo, we're going to look at the mailing side because that has a couple more steps in it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it would look like if I'm going to mail out this job myself. So I'll go ahead and select the Use Our Complete Mailing service and use the Next button to keep moving forward. Now, it's important to note that I can move backwards and forwards in my order just using these next or back buttons. So don't hesitate if you move forward and then realize you need to change something. You can use that back button to just take a step back and make any edits or changes that you need to. Now, again, it will give me a breakdown of prices at various quantities, and I can pick and choose what postage type I would like to use. So I can mail it out first class or standard mail. Standard mail also goes by a few other names. Sometimes you may hear the term third class mail or bulk mail. Those are all versions of standard mail. And you'll notice the difference is just that the first class mail is prioritized by the post office, so it does deliver more quickly, usually in about 3 to 5 business days, whereas standard mail can take 5 to 15 business days. And you're more likely going to be on the later end of that if you're mailing something around the holidays. If you're not mailing something around the holidays, they're sometimes pretty competitive, but that's really the only difference. The first class mail is prioritized, so the post office will try to always deliver that first. So if you're mailing out something that's time sensitive, maybe you're doing an open house mailer, in that case, first class mail is probably going to be the best option for you. But if it's not necessarily a time sensitive piece, the standard mail will give you postage discounts, usually about 11 cents on average per postcard. So you can have quite a bit of savings if you're mailing out something that's not necessarily time sensitive. Standard mail can be a great option for you. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it on the standard mail and move forward with addressing my postcards now. So if I have any address lists saved in my account already, I can just check the boxes that I would like to use that address list that I've already loaded in on my order. And if I have multiple address lists saved, I can check as many as I want and use all of those lists on the same order. You'll also notice there's a few different options available to me where I can also choose for addressing options. So very quickly, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these options. Now, the most common is probably going to be the upload, which means that you have your own address list and you want to go in and load in that mailing list. We'll go ahead and take a look at that in just 1 second here, but let's real quickly cover a few of the other options that will be available. You can also have the system generate a radius list or a street list for you. Now, what these are, this is the system actually pulling in data for you that you can use for farming or prospecting. So a radius list would be pulling in the closest records around a specific starting point. So let's say, for example, I just listed 123 Main Street and I want to pull the 50 closest records around 123 Main Street. Well, I can click on radius list, put in the quantity of 50, and then just put in the address that I want to make the starting point. Now, the cost to generate a radius list is about 5 cents per record. So if I create a mailing that's using a radius list, there's going to be a one-time cost at the checkout of $2.50, and that's to generate those 50 records for me. Street lists are also 5 cents per record, and this is more if you're trying to target specific addresses on a street or an entire street. So this is more handy if you're trying to target a couple streets in a neighborhood and just want to hit every record on those streets. EDDM Elite. EDDM stands for Every Door Direct Mail. So this is a program that some of you guys are either probably very familiar with or you refuse to participate in. What that is it's basically a version of saturation postage where you're mailing to an entire carrier route. And because you're hitting an entire carrier route, you get additional postage savings on your standard mail. So for agents that are doing that, this is a program that we use where you can use our system to generate your EDDM mail. It'll show you all of your carrier routes. You can pick the ones you'd like to mail to, and Xpressdocs will mail out the postcards for you. So you don't have to manually take it to the post office, get it all sorted. You can let Xpressdocs do your saturation postage straight through the system, and you get that postage savings. There's no cost to use our EDDM Elite tool, so if this is something you guys are using, this is a great tool that you can take advantage of and help take out a lot of the manual work that you're probably doing right now. And then last but not least, there's also demographic lists. So this is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This is if I'm trying to target people that are in a specific demographic. So just as an example, let's say I'm wanting to target young married couples that are renting a home. I could generate a list that looks only for records that match that criteria. Or maybe I'm mailing out a higher end property piece, and so I want to target people that make 6 figures, that own their own home, they've lived there for 30 years, and they make at least $250,000 a year. I can target people that only match that criteria. So you can use that in a variety of ways. So it doesn't get used as often, but it's a great resource as well if you're trying to do some prospecting or farming for a higher end property. The cost for these records is slightly higher. It's going to be about 8 to 10 cents per record. But again, all of the costs, whether it's a radius, street, or demographic, these are one-time costs, meaning once I've purchased that database, it is saved on file in my account. I can export it out as a spreadsheet. I can mail to it again at no cost in the future. It is your database to use. So those are one-time costs. The Every Door Direct Mail Elite program, there's no cost to use it. And if you're uploading in your own address list, there's also no cost associated with that. You can also do a blend where you could choose to upload in your own contact list and also use a prospecting list like a radius list on the same mailing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the upload your own list functionality here. Now, we support pretty much every major database format. So if you're using some sort of spreadsheet to save that list, that'll work when you load it in. If you need references on how you can format it, there's references available that you can look at. The one thing that I'll note on here is it really doesn't matter how many columns that you have in your database. If you have additional ones besides mailing data in your list, that's absolutely fine. We're really only looking for the name, address, city, state, and zip, but you can really format it however you want. The important thing to note on your lists is just make sure that your spreadsheet is uniform. And what I mean by that is if I have John Smith in column A, row 2, I don't want to have John in column A and Smith in column B in the row below there, because that means that all of your records are sort of jarbled up in the columns. And when you load that in, that's probably going to lead a lot of the records to failing your address list. So definitely make sure, however you have it formatted, that's fine. Just make sure that your spreadsheet is uniform when you load it in. Loading one in is very simple. I can just click the Browse button, and then on my computer, find the spreadsheet that I'd like to use and select it. Just click the Upload button, and what our system will do is it'll analyze that list and try to make sure that it finds how I formatted it and make sure that it understands it. So you can see first name, last name, it's found the address, city, state, and zip. So it's automatically filled all this in for me, but I can manually make adjustments if something in my spreadsheet was not set up properly. I can make that change right here without needing to change it in my spreadsheet and then upload it again. If everything looks correct, and this all looks correct, I'll just move forward by clicking the Next button. It'll give me a sampling of the records that are in my spreadsheet. I can choose to add in additional things to my data, so I could have the system inject or resident, occupant, or homeowner below the name. So if I'm trying to ensure deliverability and make sure all of my postcards deliver regardless if someone's moved, that's a great way that you can do that. And then last but not least, I can name my list. And it's going to default the name to whatever the job is that you're working on, but I can also name this something else. So if this is my personal list, I can name it that. And when I click the Approved button, the system's going to automatically scrub my data for me. It takes just a couple seconds, and this is going to tell you exactly how good your mailing data is. So you can see here that it's telling me that 99 of the records were good, and one of my mailing records was bad. And when I click the Finished, I can now see that I have that spreadsheet that I've loaded in on file and now saved in my account going forward. So I only needed to load it in that one time. If I want to see the records that failed and find out why they failed, there's an Edit button and a Delete button here next to every list. If I click the Edit button, it'll sort the records that failed right up to the top so I can see which ones failed. And if I view the record, it'll actually tell me specifically why that address failed. So in this case, the address failed because it's vacant. So the system is automatically going to scrub that particular record out. It did save it in my account, but it's not going to print, mail, or charge me for that record if I use this list on a mailing. So it's a great way to make sure that whatever you're mailing out, that you're not going to be sending out hundreds of postcards that are going to fail or bounce around. I'm going to go ahead and use that list and move forward. If I am using records where some of them have failed, it will give you a warning just to let you know how many of them failed, how many passed, and ones that it describes as warning basically means that it may be at risk of not delivering, but it technically passes. So you'll have a good idea of exactly how clean your mailing list is that you're using. If you're getting very large numbers of records failing, it's not uncommon to have a couple of the records fail. But if you're seeing very large numbers of failures, what that more than likely means is A, you're either using very old mailing data and it may just be out of date, or your spreadsheet may not be formatted properly. Again, you may want to double check and make sure you don't have different things in different columns because, again, that can lead to things getting messed up when you're loading it in. Now, on every mailed record, we automatically mail out a free sample card, and it'll just default to your name and office address, but you can edit this if you want and mail that free sample card anywhere you'd like. So if I want that sample card to go to a client's house or maybe to my personal home, I can change it and do that. We also include a free PDF high-res download with every order, and if you're mailing out a piece, you can also get a high-gloss finish applied to your postcards at no cost. That'll be automatically picked. If you don't want to use it, you can click None, and it'll just stick with the standard cover stock. But we do recommend keeping that gloss finish on there. It helps with the durability. There's no cost for it, and it does look really good. So more than likely, you won't need to change anything on that options page, but if you need to, you have that ability to do that. And otherwise, you're good to go. It's going to take you into your checkout screen. If you have a promotional code, you can choose to apply that here, and there is a special launch promo code that you guys will have for your first order if you need to apply it. It'll give you that cost breakdown. And if everything looks good, I can either choose to proceed to checkout and finish this job or click the Continue Shopping button. Now, this is an important thing. If I go to the checkout, I need to go to the checkout and click Complete Checkout to finish a job. If I don't click that Complete Checkout button, this is still just a pending order waiting to be submitted. So make sure you get all the way to the end and click that Complete Checkout button to finish your job and submit it for printing. Once you do that, you will get an email notification with your order ID number in there. If I click the Continue Shopping button, what this is going to do is it'll put it in my shopping cart and take me back to the home screen. So if I need to order multiple things at the same time, maybe I'm ordering some postcards and I also need business cards, and I just want to do that on one transaction, I can add the postcard to my shopping cart. And you can see now at the top of my screen, I've got that shopping cart with that item in there ready to go. And then I can start working on another job real quickly. So again, I realize we just covered a lot of ground on that, but I did want to walk through kind of from start to finish how you can import a listing into a piece and go all the way to the checkout screen with that. But real quickly, let's also talk about some of the other programs that are available and some of the programs that are going to be coming down the pike. And then what we'll do is we'll pause for a little bit and review if anyone has submitted in any questions. Again, if you do have questions, go ahead and open up your GoToWebinar. You can start submitting those in now, and we'll start taking a look at those in just another moment. So a couple quick programs that we're going to cover. You also have, you'll notice there's two tabs up here. There's a personal marketing tab and an APM tab. So let's really quickly take a look at those. So personal marketing is where you can find a huge catalog of content that has already been designed. It's automatically going to pull in the Greenridge Realty branding. And this is a great way for you to be able to keep in contact with your existing client base. You'll notice it's automatically sorted to the current time of year, so it's showing a lot of spring designs right now. But you'll notice on the left-hand side, pretty much every major or minor holiday you can think of, you can find cards for this. So if you're trying to send out a Christmas card to all of your clients, you're going to have options for that. You can load in custom family photos if you need to. You'll find calendars. There's newsletters. So if you like to send out newsletters that are talking about real estate market trends, we're updating that every year, so you can always find new content available for newsletters. There's recipe cards, sports schedules, consumer tips, basically anything that you could possibly need to just keep in touch with your existing client base. You can find over 1,000 template designs in this personal marketing category. So the home tab is going to have a lot of your property-based marketing for marketing to a specific property. That personal marketing, this is where you can find all of the content related to just keeping in touch with your client base. So this is a program that's available to you guys in the system. And then automated property marketing. So this is a really cool program that is also leveraging the listing feed that we were talking about just a moment ago. But this is an automated program. So this is included at launch, and you guys are going to start getting emails for this starting later this week. So definitely keep an eye out for this as it's coming. So let's talk a little bit about what automated property marketing is. So automated property marketing is a really great tool. And how it works is every time a new listing is given to Xpressdocs from Property Base, we automatically send you an email letting you know that, hey, 123 Main Street has just been listed. Would you like to create a postcard for that job? So you'll get that notification in your email every time a new listing comes in. And if you click the link in the email, it'll automatically log you into your account. It'll take you straight into that job, and it'll automatically put together the postcard and generate a proof of that postcard in just one click. So it's a really great way where in just one click from your email inbox, you can generate an entire postcard order and take a look at it. You still have the ability to go in and make changes to it. So if you want to edit it, change out the photos, change up the text in there, you can absolutely do that. But if everything looks good, in just 2 clicks, one in your email and then one to move forward after you look at your proof, you can go straight to the checkout and finish your job in just 2 clicks. So it's a very cool program. Everyone's going to have this set up for them. You can choose to unsubscribe from it if you'd like, and we'll take a look at that in just 1 second. But it's a really great program. We've found that's been very successful for a lot of agents to know when those properties are coming in and just to really help them automate that entire marketing process. A couple quick notes on that too. The system is never going to mail out these postcards for you automatically. So don't ever worry that it's going to send out a postcard just because you got an email for it. What the emails are for is just letting you know that if you would like to move forward with marketing that property, you can. And when you click that link, it will generate an order, but it's never going to submit that job unless you go all the way to the checkout screen and physically complete that job. Now, from this APM tab, what I'd recommend doing when you log into your Xpressdocs account, there's going to be two buttons here. One of them will be your Apm Properties. This is where you can see any properties that you have in the system. And the other is going to be your profile. Now, everyone will have a default profile set up, but you can go in and customize this. What this is your ability to go in and pick and choose what template you would like your default postcard to use. So when the system generates that order for me, I can pick and choose what templates I would like the system to use for a just listed and then maybe a different one for a just sold. I can pick which headshot I'd like to use, what I want my default contact information to be. I can even set up preferences around having the system generate a radius list for me. So maybe I can have it set up where the system automatically pulls in the 100 closest records to whatever that property is that I just listed. So what it'll do is it'll generate that postcard for me, it'll generate a proof, and it's going to generate a radius list for 100 records around that address. So there's a lot of great details in this profile. You don't have to go in and do this, but we recommend to just go in and set up whatever your preferences would be. You can even set up things like what's the default postage type to use, whether you like to use a gloss coding. If you want to use custom comments for the just listed or just sold, you can set that up. And at the very bottom, if for whatever reason you do want to unsubscribe from the program, there is the ability to go into your profile and just click the subscribe or unsubscribe button at any time if you don't want to get those emails. But again, this is a really awesome program. I think you guys are going to love this. And again, it is starting this week. So as early as tomorrow, you could start seeing some of these emails start coming through. There's also another program that's going to be coming down the pike very soon this year. It's already in the works. It's called Express Connection. What this is basically a drip campaign where you can subscribe one of your clients to a subscription that will automatically, over the course of the year, send out touch points to them automatically for you. So you can just subscribe that user and just set it and forget it. And throughout the year, depending on the program you've selected, the system is going to automatically send out that contact a postcard. So that's a really cool program. It's basically an automated version of this personal marketing category here, where you'll have different versions that'll send out different amounts of postcards throughout the year. So there's going to be more details coming on that as we get a little bit closer to that, but just know that that is another automated program that is also coming down the pike for you guys. So let's go ahead and pause here for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and open up and see if any questions have been submitted. You can also, if you'd like to, go ahead and start submitting in any additional questions that you would have. And then we'll go ahead and start talking through all that. All right, so here's the question that came in. It says, where do they ship from? So that's a great question. So Xpressdocs, we are based out of Fort Worth, Texas. We have a couple different facilities, but our main production facility is in Fort Worth, Texas. So if you submit a job today, that's where we're going to be printing and shipping those orders out from. Depending on where you're having an order shipped, ground shipping can deliver in as little as 1 business day. But typically, on average, ground shipping across most of the United States will be about 3 business days. So that's the average shipping amount. When we're mailing stuff out, it goes through the large national mail facility that's in Dallas. So that's where the mail will be coming from. Depending on the quantity, though, we do also drop ship our mail, meaning that we actually load up large amounts of mail and we'll actually drive it to specific NDCs and SCFs for the post office throughout the United States, which actually means in some cases, some of your mail may be delivering locally. So a question came in about some people that were wondering whether the text on the postcards, where does that come from and can it be edited? So that's a great question. So if you're using the listing feed for the comments on your postcard, meaning that through APM, I'm having the automated program where it's generating one for me, or I'm importing a listing like we saw earlier. If I'm doing that, then the comments that appear on the back of my postcard are the same as your MLS comments. So it's going to automatically populate whatever is in the MLS comments into the comments on your postcard. Now, it is still an editable field. So if I see something has been misspelled, for example, or maybe it's too much, maybe we put in a lot of information on the MLS, but we can't fit all that in a postcard, you can still manually update and change the text that comes through on your postcards. A question says, are lists saved that you can access for different mailings? Yes, so if you're loading in your own list, they will save in your account. They will save for up to 18 months, and if you use them again during that time, it'll save them for another 18 months. So technically, as long as you're using those mailing lists, it's going to keep them saved on file in your account. So if I've uploaded in my personal farming list, I can save that on file. If I've uploaded in a personal contact list or an existing client list, I can save that in too. You can load in as many address lists as you want. We will save them on file. And likewise, if you have the system generate a list for you, like that demographic list or a radius list, it'll also save those in your account too. You can access them without going through the order as well through your account information. So if I click on my account at the top of the screen here, I can go in and there's actually a section in here called Manage Address Lists. And if I open that up, I can see there's that list that I just uploaded in that job. It's already saved in my account and ready to go. And I can actually just download it out. I can edit it. I can delete it out. Or I can actually generate more radius lists or street lists right here. Now, one thing to note, you'll notice on this particular radius list here, there's not a download button on this one. And that's because I haven't actually used this radius list on an order yet. If I have the system generate a list for me, I need to use that list in an order because then it will actually charge me that one-time cost associated with that. And then I will have purchased it, so it will be my list to use. So if you generate a list, but you don't ever get around to using it, and then you're trying to download it later and it won't let you download it, that probably means you just never actually purchased that list. So you do need to purchase a list, and then once you do that, it will save it in your account. Question is, does the radius list include the phone number or email address? It does not. It includes their name and their contact for their physical mailing address. It's just mailing data that you're purchasing on that. Things get a little bit more complicated if you're trying to purchase email data or phone data. There's totally different laws in place surrounding some of that. So if you're using a radius list or a demographic list, it's just for mailing purposes. There's a question about if you purchase a radius list, will it be updated automatically over time? It will not automatically update the records if someone moves or changes. No, it will keep it saved in your account and you can use it again. But it's not going to go in there and automatically change the records as they're getting updated, no. There's a question on the minimum order quantities. So the minimum order quantities are pretty much the same on almost every product in the system with just a couple exceptions. The minimum print on pretty much all of the products like postcards, flyers, brochures, door hangers is going to be 25 pieces, which is pretty low for most printers. So I can choose to mail as few as 25 postcards. Now, you don't get the best shipping rates or not shipping rates because you get free ground shipping, but you may not get the best print rates if you're only printing 25 pieces because that is the minimum. But that is as low as you can go. The one exception to that is going to be business cards. They have a minimum order of 100 pieces, so it's a little bit higher on business cards, but in general, most of the products, it'll be as few as 25 pieces, and then you'll just keep getting printing discounts as you're ordering higher and higher thresholds. So at 50 pieces, you'll get a discount. At 100 pieces, you'll get another discount, and so forth. These are great questions, everybody. There's a question on how the access works. So I don't have access to the property base to demo specifically how it's going to pass through, but the single sign-on is set up through property base, and there is a link to Xpressdocs. You may want to get with Beth. She may be able to demo this for you a little bit easier, but there'll be an Xpressdocs link in there that you'll be able to select that will then pass you into this screen that we're looking at here. And that is through the Greenridge CRM. So you'll be able to find that link through there. Let's see. If you're doing trifolds for listings, can you do a smaller amount but increase quality? Melissa, I'm not sure. Can you clarify that question? I'm not sure I'm following what you're needing on that. There's another question on how is this billed and can it be billed through our Greenridge account? So yeah, depending on how your account's set up, because I know everyone can have differences in their contracts, the system can be set up for credit card, billing through a corporate account, or through vouchers where you may have, the corporate people may have set up a special voucher balance in your account that you can use where you'll have a budget. So there's a variety of ways. So depending on how things are set up and structured for you, that will sort of determine what kind of options you have once you get to the checkout screen. All right, that's a lot of great questions. I think that reviews all the questions that have come in so far. We'll go ahead and give it just another minute or so in case anyone submits in any additional ones. Okay, so as far as the trifolds go, about doing higher quality production, even though it's lower minimums, you don't need a lot of pieces, but you're looking for some additional options. So yeah, you do have the ability. So let's say, for example, I'm working on a higher end property and I want to do a larger piece, like maybe a square trifold or maybe one of the 11 by 17 fold over brochures, or an 8 by 8, the square foldovers. You can still get the lower minimums like we were talking about, the 25 pieces. You do have options on your trifolds and your brochures where you can also do custom finishing on the pieces. So for example, I can choose where I'm printing it on my cover stock, but I can choose from adding in custom finishes like the gloss. I can also do a matte finish, which is similar to a satin finish. We even do the soft touch velvet finishes on your brochures and trifolds. So that's a really common option for like luxury properties where you can add in that soft touch finish. It makes the piece stand out quite a bit. So yes, if you're working on, that doesn't work on all of the products. So for example, I can't do a soft touch finish on postcards, but any products where that qualifies, you will get to an options screen when you're working on it, and it'll give you that option to apply a custom finish on there at an additional cost per piece. So depending on the finishing options you pick, it can range anywhere from 5 cents per side up to 10 or 20 cents if it's a higher end finish and it's on a very large piece. But that is an option for you on the higher end properties, absolutely. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. We'll give it just another minute or so here. And again, while we're waiting on that, I know we've covered a lot of ground today. Remember, you guys also have the ability to use that Tier 1 customer service. If you're putting together your first order and you have a question, you can open up that live chat button. You can call the toll-free line. We're absolutely going to be here to help you guys out. If you're working on something and you're not sure what you need to be doing, or you need help or someone to just kind of hold your hand and walk you through that first time, we are more than happy to do that. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I know we've covered a lot of ground today, so it can be hard to keep up with all of it, but absolutely don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy to help. All right, and I am not seeing any other questions come in, so I think that may be it on the questions. So again, thank you everyone for taking time to jump on the call today. I really appreciate it. We are really excited to be working with Greenridge Realty as you guys launch and build your brand further. So thank you so much for jumping on today. Again, this is recorded training, so we'll be sharing the video file with you guys afterward. You guys can watch this if you need it. Thanks so much for jumping on, everyone. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everybody.